Hello, and thank you for tuning in. Tine akata, teosha she eteata. Don't you just love your triggers? They come up, sneak up when you least expect it. You could be feeling great, and then all of a sudden you get dropped down into a washing machine of emotions. And you either become very angry at people or you get depressed, become anxious, fearful, and you're trying to figure out, where is this coming from? Why is this happening? Well, before you even came onto this planet, you designed all those beautiful triggers. Why? Why put yourself through so much turmoil? Because you needed to be awakened to a new level, to help you to remember, to remind you that you need to go inwards, that you need to heal all those beautiful triggers that are only there to show you the way. Most of my life, all of my life, 70 years young, 71 years young, I never really remembered anything of my childhood. And I always wondered, what could have happened to me that was so terrible that I didn't want to remember. I know I've shared that with people as I was growing up, and the stories that they were telling me. Well, you could have been abused, you could have been this, you could have been that. And the mind is just incredible because it creates incredible stories, of which were not my stories, but I took them on anyway because then I questioned it all. And as I started to move through this life, I too carried a lot of emotional baggage. Anger was just incredible in me. It was incredible. People would run and hide if I got angry. I would run and hide. And I can only push those away for so long because I was trying to really understand what was happiness and what was love. So the more that I kept diving deeper, things started to change in my life. I started to feel more at peace. But then my body started to speak to me, and that's only in the past few years. But mind you, now that I think about it, throughout most of my 40s, I had a lot of things show up in the body, and I didn't understand it. And my osteopath couldn't understand it. I remember him saying, it was like, who dropped you off a building? But you see, I didn't realize the depth that pain that was in the body, it was the body speaking to me. And at that time, osteopaths, doctors, were not tuned into what was really going on underneath the pain. The pain was just like a trigger. It was forcing me to go inside, but no one knew how to do it. I clearly did not know. But I kept going forward. There's got to be an easier way to this. So as I evolved, as I embodied a lot of what I was learning, the body changed and it behaved differently. And still just moving along. And then for quite a few years, I just stopped doing really any serious inner work. And then I got to British Columbia in 2020. And a very good friend of mine had said, she was going to be working with someone, and I was quite surprised because she is very, very gifted And she said, well, when was the last time you did any serious work for yourself? And I said, it's been forever. And at the time, I was dealing with my body was just breaking out in incredible rashes that were just causing me a lot of pain. And after 2 biopsies, they just didn't know what it was. I finally clued in that underneath that, there had to be something that was buried, some story, some emotion. And for the longest time, I've had issues with my lungs. I quit smoking. I stopped smoking in 2011. But the lungs just get harder and harder to breathe. And I kept saying, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. So then I was diagnosed with COP. And I believed, well, that's not possible. That's not going to be part of my vocabulary. So here I am now, 71. And I decided a couple of years ago to dive deeper. Because I worked with someone, 3 years ago for over, 20 hours over a period of a few months to help myself begin to heal. And it was working, but it wasn't enough. And then this year, I started to do a lot of ancestral healing with Thomas Hubble. And a 5-month course, things started to shift within me because I started to practice what I was doing, what I was learning. Because I need to embody things, otherwise I don't learn it. So gradually, the itching has stopped. Gradually, the lungs feel lighter. But then my spine started to hurt. And my ribs, popping ribs, like, what is going on? And then I just realized that there was something deeper there. And I work with people, and I witness how they shift easily through all this stuff they're dealing with or coping with. And then it hit me again. I needed to work with someone of a higher frequency who could guide me through more of what it was I couldn't remember. Thomas Hubble spoke of an iceberg. The emotions within us are like an iceberg. And what we can do on our own just doesn't penetrate into that ice. It's just so frozen. And it gets buried. It's buried in our nervous system. So now it's been 6 hours of working with an incredible soul that is helping me to heal what it was that I did not know, nor could I understand. And the beauty of all this work that I do and that I was being guided to do is that I didn't need to remember, which for many people find unusual because we've been so conditioned into believing that we need to remember. How can you heal? You have to remember who did what, when, where, and why. And when I was growing up, the stories that people were putting into my head, that I believed it. I believed that there must have been something abusive that happened to me. And you walk around in that shadow for a long time, it's pretty scary. So wanting to dive into this was not something I relished, because how could I remember what I don't remember? But I didn't need to. And it was such a relief to know that I didn't really need to know anything. So with the proper guidance, when you're working with someone that has a higher frequency than you. We can, she can, he can easily show you how to go into that healing place within yourself so that you can begin to heal. And what I have noticed after 6 hours of working, and that's 3 sessions, my lungs have released so much, it's incredible. These aspects, the personalities that live within me, that live within you, made some incredible choices way back when. From being in the womb to a 1-year-old, to a 7-year-old, to a 20-year-old. Didn't matter what age, but the choices those aspects had were so, so wise that when I think about it, it almost brings me to tears. Because they knew what to heal. They knew what to not heal, sorry. They knew what they didn't want to experience anymore. They didn't want to feel sad. They didn't want to feel scared. They didn't want to feel so alone. They didn't want to try to understand what was being said to them or what they heard. That the intelligence, the wisdom to shut it down so they didn't need to experience that much pain and suffering anymore. But, there's a but. All that got stored in the nervous system, in my nervous system. The nervous system that speaks through the body. It's just incredible. But you see, the thing is that I had to come to the realization that I could not do that work, that deep diving on my own. And I didn't want to work with someone who was going to drag me over the coals because I was sick and tired of that, because that's what most of my life was like. You know, someone said to me, well, how do you know who to work with? Trust yourself. Meet with someone, spend 10, 15 minutes with them, have a chat. Don't commit to working with someone. Say, I'll get back to you. And then just sit with what was said to you. Sit and feel what was being said to you. Does it feel right? You see, it's forcing you and me to go inside and trust. To trust. There is an easier way. And whatever way you choose is perfect for you because that's where you had to go. Well, whoever you end up working with is perfect for you because that person is going to be your mirror to help you see what you cannot see. And then to help you go through the healing and the transformation. I hate that word healing. It implies that you're broken. It's not. It's learning to dance and transform those emotions, those aspects, those shadows of yourself, so that they now can play with you and work with you and bring forward all that courage, all that strength, the wisdom. They bring it forward. You know, one of the things I realized through all this work that I have been doing is it took a lot of courage and strength for these shadows, these aspects, these personalities within me to make those decisions to not have to live and endure that pain anymore. And I always wondered, where have I gotten? Where does that strength and that courage come from? And you can ask yourself the same question. Where does your strength and courage? And don't say you don't have it, because you do. You're still on this planet. It's taking courage and strength to move through the chaos that is happening in this world today. And where do you think that comes from? All those incredible aspects, those shadows, those personalities that live within you. They are there protecting you. But now you need to help them come out of the darkness and to stand in their light so that they can be free. And they can support you at a higher level. That is your job, to help them to be free. Chineasha, ke teata, maye kaya sashua teata, na akitiata. You do not have to do this on your own. But just make that commitment to yourself to do what you need to do so you can set them free, and in turn you set yourself free. You heal the past. You cannot change the past. You have a different perception of the past, and you heal the future for yourself and the future for the children of this world. And you help heal Mother Earth. Please share your comments. What did you discover from hearing this video? What insights can you share with others who are also struggling and on a similar path? We can do this together when we can work together as a community. Thank you. Thank you for being on this planet. Thank you for being strong and courageous. But continue the work that you need to do to set yourself free. From my heart to yours, so much love and light. Have a beautiful day.